Hi everybody, this is Ellen. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make the happy giraffe. I think it's super adorable. So cute. Does stand up. It's awesome. I love it so much. Band wise, it's a little band heavy. This one I used neon orange for it, but it was $414 for that. And then for the brown, the main part's brown, like the antlers, the tail, and the feet, it was $61. And then the little spots are kind of optional, so I used maybe 25 of the wrap bands for the little spots on them. And then of course you'll need your cheeks, your mouth, and then your eye, which can either be the 9mm pony bead or a couple wrap bands. I'll show you how to put those together. So this does take some parts, so we have to make all those first, but I just love it. I think it's so cute. So first we'll start with the face stuff. If you have the 9mm pony bead, you don't have to put any bands through them yet. You can wait till we get there. Or you can use 2 bands, the color of your eye that you want. Put them on your hook, wrap them around one time, then grab all 4 bands, wrap them around again, and then pull through 2 bands that are going to be the color of your giraffe. Like that. So you'd want 2 eyes if you're going to do that. You can also use the 7mm beads and just 1 band for the eye if you want a smaller eye. That's up to you. So we have the eyes. We need to make cheeks, which are whatever color you want the cheek, on the hook, wrapped around into the figure 8. You grab both bands, wrap them around again, and then pull through 2 bands that are the color of your giraffe. Like that. So you want 2 cheeks. Then we need to make the antlers. Although I think that this is kind of a baby giraffe. I mean, probably wouldn't have antlers that early, but what you'll do is take 2 bands, whatever color you want the antlers to be, which are these up here. 2 bands on the hook, wrap them around, grab all 4 bands, wrap them around again, and then take 1 band, double it on your hook, pull it through everything on your hook, both ends back on, kind of center it, and then pull through 2 more doubled bands. So here's 1, not that many, double another one, and 2. So you should have the cap band with 3 more bands pulled through that are doubled. And then you'll pull through 2 bands that are the color of your giraffe. Like that. So you want 2 antlers. Then we have ears. And this one will take 2 bands, put them on your hook, wrap them around once, hang on to it, wrap them around again, so you wrap it around 3 times. Then take 2 bands, pull them straight through what's on your hook, both ends back on. Then you'll go back through that center cap band, grab 2 more bands, pull them through just the cap band, and both ends back on. Then you kind of want to center it all out a little bit. Then you'll take 2 bands and pull them through everything. And it'll hold. It'll be kind of a loose hold, so just don't play with it a whole lot after you get done with it, but it'll hold. So those are the ears. And then, while we're at it, we need to make the tail, which is 3 bands, whatever you want the little fluff to be here at the end. 3 bands, wrap them around one time. Then you'll take your giraffe color, 1 band, double it, pull it through, center it, and then we'll pull through 5 more doubled pink bands. So here's doubled. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So in total you should have your 2 bands wrapped around and then 6 double chains, and then pull through 2 bands the color of your giraffe. Like that. So that's the tail. I think we've made almost everything ahead of time. These spots are made the same way as the cheeks. So it's just 1 band, whatever color you want the spots to be. Or if you want any at all, on the hook, wrap it around, grab both bands, wrap it around again, and then pull through 2 bands. And like I said, these are optional. You can have as many or as few as you want, so it's kind of up to you on how many you want on your giraffe. So we need to make all of that, and then we also need to make the legs ahead of time. So we have our loom, wrong end towards us. You're going to want the main color of your giraffe, and then whatever color you want for the feet, the little portion right here. I'm going to show you how to make one of them. The front legs are a little longer than the back legs, so keep that in mind. I'll make sure to explain which ones go where and how long they should be. It's just kind of to give it more of a baby appearance, like it's kind of like, help, I can't stand up quite right. I just think it's cuter that way. So, but they all start, and you can put them all in the loom at the same time. They start with a 3-pin design. So I'm going to start down here, so then you can add the other ones up here. So it's 2 bands, everything's double banded. Right there. And 2 bands here and here. So 3-pin. Your center is going to get 2 bands wrapped around 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. So then you'll probably want to pause after kind of each step that I do, so you'll put the other 3 of the 3-pin cap band up here and then come back to do this part. Which, go in through the cap band, grab the top 2 bands, wherever they are. Top 2, not top 1. Pull them back towards themselves, and do that all the way around. Now we're going to start our rows around, and that's what makes the legs up here. You can add your spots to these. I didn't on mine, but you can add them if you want to. And then the front legs are 7 rows long, and the back legs are 5 rows long. So I'm going to do another of the 5-row one. So I already have my 2 7s, and that's my other 5. So this will be the first row. 2 bands. Just make a little triangle. Like that. And you'll flip over the bottom 4 over the top. Like that. Push it down. So that's 1 row. Do our second row. Flip the bottom 4. Push it down. And now you can go in, and there should be like a little pink band you can see right there. Go in closer to the pin, and grab your cap band, which should be the bottom foot color, and pull that up over the top of the pin. Like that. Push your stuff back down. Now we'll do our third row. Flip over the bottom 4. Push down. 4th row. Flip over the bottom 4. Push down. You can kind of pull up the center too. You can also count your rows if you're worried where you're at, like if you're doing all 4 at once. With the counting of the rows, you'll see, look right here, and you can have 1, 2, pull it up again, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have 1 more row to go for the front foot, which are 5 rows long. Back feet are 7, or front feet are 7, back feet are 5. Either way, just do 2 of them with 7 rows and do 2 of them with 5 rows. So this is my 5th row. And I probably will put that in the description box, so, because I think hopefully I haven't confused you completely. So that's my 5th row. Flip over the bottom 4. Like that. So once you get to here with all of them, I would wait until you get kind of close to the end here. So get all of them where they need to be, 2 with 5 rows, 2 with 7 rows. Then what you'll do is the far point on this one, I'm going to grab the top 2 bands, pick them up, and they're coming from the left side on mine, so I'm going to bring them over to the right side. So you want to bring them over to the opposite pin. Then you grab the other 2 that are left and bring those over to the other pin, like that. And what we need to do is take this off the loom. So I'll stick my hook into one side, and I kind of hang on to it like I have my finger right here. As I come around, grab the other side, pull them off. I've kind of kept them separate. Either way, we're going to pull bands through the first 6 bands on our hook. So 2 bands, pull them through. Make sure you get it far away enough. Then slide your hook out. And this will kind of turn around to where it's comfortable being. Then you'll take 2 bands and pull them through the other 6 bands that are left. Like that. So they should be together like that. We've done this before if you've made the turtle, it's just they're a little bit different because they're different lengths, and this is a smaller around than the turtle. So they should look like this when you're done. For this bottom portion, we'll fix them more when we're completely done with the giraffe, but this bottom purple portion where the cap band is, that actually gets pushed down into the bottom of the foot, and it kind of ends up having this little kind of bowed out appearance at the bottom of the foot, which I think is kind of cute. So we'll fix that more when we get done. If you're wondering why they don't look the same when you're done. So again, 2 legs with 7 rows, 2 legs with 5 rows, and you want to get those done too. So you'll pause and then come back for actually making the giraffe. Alright, so still the wrong end of the loom towards us. You're going to want your mouth band first. And we're going to start right around the 5th pin up on the left. I'm going to take that mouth band and wrap it around this pin 1 time. So that's made a cap band. Then I'll grab those bands, pull them down. Then I'm going to pull it across. And we'll pull it over. So we're taking that cap band and putting it around 4 pins. Right there. Now, you want your giraffe color. And right above where the mouth band is, we're going to make an X. So 2 bands. Go from left to right. And then right to left. And then each of these pins right here are going to get a cap band. So it's 2 bands wrapped around 1 time. So like that. 2 bands over here wrapped around. And you take your hook and you go over here to the side that's on the bottom. If you put your bands on the other way, just start on the side where the bands are on the bottom. Go in through the cap band, grab those two bands, pull them up, and back across the loom. Then grab the band on the other side through the cap band, pull it up, back across the loom, like that. Our next row is going to be our antler row. So you want your antlers. That'll be, everything will be double banded in this, unless I say differently, so, but it's two bands for everything pretty much. So across here, then you want your antlers, and they're going to go on the sides. And two bands across the back. And then antler on the other side. Like that. Then you go ahead and flip the bottom four bands all the way around. Push everything down. Now we're going to increase. So for mine, depending on if you put yours on the same order, then you should be able to copy what I do exactly. We do a lot of increasing, so if you put your bands on exactly as I do, that will definitely be helpful. So for mine, we're going to increase these two pins right here. So I'm going to have to grab all four bands right here, pull them down a pin, and then I can bring the top two back. There's no crossing of these bands that are on these pins right here. I'll show you what I mean by crossing over here. If I just picked up the top two on this side and brought them down, they would cross right there. We don't want that. So that's why you have to pick up all four. Sometimes we can just pick up the top two and bring them down and they don't cross, but not this time. So I bring back the other two. Again, no crossing. This band on this pin actually comes around to this pin. So our next row is going to be our ear row. So you want your ears. So first we'll start down here, the two bands again. Right here and here. Then we'll have an ear. And two bands across the back. And another ear. Then two bands. So like that. Now we're going to flip the bands on the back pin here. It'll be 4. Then it'll be 2. And then 2. We do not do anything with the mouth band yet. And on the other side, same thing. 4, 2, and 2. Push your bands down. Now we're going to increase again on these same front two pins. So once again, I need to pick up all 4 bands and bring them down a pin and then bring the top 2 back. So pick up all 4, bring them down, and then bring the top 2 back. Same thing over here. Pick up all 4, bring them down, and then bring the top 2 back. Like that. Next is going to be our eye row. So you want your eyes. So we'll start down here first, 2 bands, and then 2 bands. Next spot will be an eye. I'm just going to push these through. If you have smaller beads, then you might have to use a piece of craft wire, fold it in half to kind of thread it through the smaller ones, but they go through the big ones all right. So there's an eye, and 2 bands. Two bands, bands, another eye, and then 2 bands. So like that. So then we'll flip this back pins will be 4, and this one will be 4, and then 2 and 2. And the mouth band usually gets in the way when you do these last ones. And the other side's the same, be 4, 4, 2, and 2. Push everything down. So now we're going to do a couple of half rows to kind of give them a little bit of a nose. So starting over here by the eye on the left, we'll take 2 bands. And we're going to come around to the other eye. Like that. So now we're only going to flip the 4 pins closest to us. We're not going to flip where we started and where we ended. So just these 4. So the bottom 4 here, here, watch out for the mouth band, 4 over here, and 4 here. And push down. And then again, we're going to do the same thing right on top of that. 2 bands, starting at the eye and going around to the other eye. Like that. Same thing, flip only the 4 pins on the closest to us. And there's 4 on each one to flip. Push your bands down. Now we're going to do our cheek row. So you want your cheeks. So I'm going to start down here with 2 bands. And 2 bands. And a cheek. And 2 bands. 2 bands, 2 bands, cheek, and 2 bands, like that. So now we're going to flip. Back pin will be 4. The next pin down, you're going to have 4 bands from our half rows to go over, and then 4 bands from the row way back. And you'll be leaving 4 bands on the pin. Next 2 down will have 4 bands as well. And it's the same on both sides. There's 4. And on this one you'll have the 4 from the half rows and the 4 from the row way back. And 4 on the other ones. So now what you want to do is we're going to go in through by this pin and just kind of start tugging up ahead. And then grab a hold of the antlers and the ears, pull it up. The eyes kind of want to stay down there. Just be careful how much you pull up so you don't knock anything off of your pins. Just want to get it unstuck a little bit. Like that. Now what you want to do is we're going to take that mouth band, you're just going to grab a hold of it and pull it up over the top of the pins until it's basically just kind of resting right in the middle there. It's actually wrapped around the whole loom area right there. So make sure you pull that up, push your bands down again. So now what we're going to do is a row all the way around with the 2 bands. like that. Then you'll flip the bottom 4 on every pin. Cat hair. Kitty cats are everywhere. Like that. So now what we need to do is we need to start bringing the nose back in. So you see right here on this giraffe. So how we're going to do that is we're going to reduce the front 2 pins. So you want to get your bands so that you can see for sure which 2 bands are on the top and which 2 bands are on the bottom. You do that on both front pins. And what you're going to do is go in through the top 2 bands, grab the bottom 2 bands, pull them up through the top 2 bands, and you'll see they're through. If you can see right there, I'm through the top 2 bands that are still on the pin. And the ones on my hook are going to come back a pin. So now, as long as these bands that are on this pin went through, these can come off. And they're going to kind of be loose and look yucky, but they'll be fine. Do the same thing on the other pin on the other side. In through the top 2 bands, grab the bottom 2, pull them up through, make sure they're through, then bring them back a pin. And then these can come off. Unstick that. So it looks like that now. Push those down. Then we're going to do another row all the way around with the 2 bands. Like that. Then on the first 2 pins on the side, or the back 2 pins, 4 to flip over, and here's 4. And then when you get to the pins closest to you, you're going to have 6. The 2 from the reducing we did, and then the bottom 4. And it'll be the same on the other side. 4, 4, and 6 on this one. Like that. The mouth band can come down to the front, kind of, so you can see what closer to what it's going to look like. Push everything down. We're going to do that same thing that we just did. So again, get these all so they look nice. So you have the top on the top and the bottom on the bottom. So reduce again. You go in through the top 2 bands, grab the bottom 2, pull them up through the top 2, check to make sure you're through the middle, and then bring them back. Then you can take these off. Same thing on the other side. In through the top 2, grab the bottom 2, pull them up through, make sure you're through, then bring them back, and these can come off. Then you'll want to unstick the head. The mouth band will probably be stuck too. Pull that off. Push your bands down. Then we're going to do another row all the way around. Like that. So the back pin will have 4, and the front pin will have the 6. And don't get too concerned if you think the shape is a little off or it looks a little different. Just however you pulled it up when we were loosening it from the loom, that'll make a difference. So we can adjust all those bands when we're done. And if you have any bands sticking out here underneath the chin, we can fix those later too. So push your bands down. Now we're going to start coming down the neck area. So this is where you can start adding in more of the wrap bands if you want to do that. I didn't put too many on the head area just because I didn't want them distorting the eyes or anything. So spots if you want them. We're going to do a row all the way around. It's either 2 bands or use your spots bands. Like that. So then you'll flip the bottom 4. So that's 1 row. I'm going to do 2 more rows just like that. Go all the way around. Put another spot on. Like that. Flip the bottom 4. Push down. And we'll do 1 more row all the way around. Spots are just totally random, wherever I think they might look alright. So that was our 3rd row, so we need to flip the bottom 4. Like that. So then we want to increase. We're going to increase these back 2 pins right here. So to do that, for this one, if you put them on exactly the same way as I did, I can just pick up the top 2 bands and they don't cross, so I can just bring them back. And on the other side, I have to actually pick up all 4 bands, pull them back a pin, and then bring the top 2 back so they don't cross. So like that. So I can see my band comes from this pin all the way over to here. So we're going to do a row all the way around. Again, keep putting on your spots if you want them. Like that. So the back 2 pins, it's going to be 2 bands to flip over, and the front ones will have 4. Same thing on the other side, 2, 2, and 4. Push down. Then we're going to increase again. So for this one, we're actually going to increase all 4 in the back. So to do that, first we're going to move these 2 pins back a pin. So I'm just going to pick up all 4 bands and move them back. Now do the same thing on the other side. Pick them up, move them back. So we look like that now. And what I'm going to do is come to this pin over here, kind of the middle pin technically. I'm going to be able to pick up the top 2 bands and bring them up. So there's no crossing right here. This band on this pin comes around to here. And I'm going to come over to the other side, but on this side I have to pick up all 4 bands and bring them back a pin. And then I can bring the top 2 back so there's no crossing. Like that. And we also want to increase these ones that we moved up. On this side I can just pick up the top 2 bands. And it's a stretch. It helps if you get this little spot over the pen to hold it. Over here, I gotta pick up all 4 bands, bring them up a pin, and then bring the top 2 back. So now we're on 10 pins total. And we're going to do another row all the way around. Again, don't forget your spots. Like that. So when we flip, the back 4 pins are only going to have 2 bands to flip, and then the front one will have 4. So 2, 2, 2, 2, and 4. Same thing on the other side. 2, 2, 2, 2, and 4. Push everything down. And we are going to increase yet again. This time we're going to increase the second pins down from the back side here. So again, we're going to pick up these last 2 pins, the bands on the pins, and pull them up a pin. And then for me, I can pick up the top 2 bands, bring them up on this side. And over here, I have to pick up all 4 bands, bring them up a pin, and then I can bring the top 2 back, like that. So now we're on 6 pins. We're going to do a row all the way around. Don't forget your spots. Keep telling you, spots. Sometimes I forget to say it, and I'm always like, oh no. And I really just wanted a pink giraffe, no particular reason, just thought it'd be cute. Okay. I like that. So it'll be 4, 2, 2, and then 4 on the other 3 pins on this side. Again, 4, 2, 2, 4, and then 4 and 4. Like that. Our next row is going to be our tail row, so you'll want your tail right here. So we're just going to start down here. Add the spots. Tail's going to go right here at the end, and I'll say it now and I'll say it probably again, but once we put the tail on, you probably do not want to put any more spots on this end of the loom. I'll let you figure out why, but no more spots down here. Just a suggestion. So like that. Then on every pin you're going to be flipping the bottom 4. One, 2. Alright, push everything down. Our next row, we are going to start attaching the legs. So you want the legs that are 7 rows tall. So big legs. So have those ready. We'll have 2 bands across the front. And then in the next spot, you're going to have your legs. And how you want to get these on here. So if you turn the loom, you have the 2 bands pulled through each side here. If you hold it next to the loom and grab the top 2 bands and put those onto the loom. So that when you flip it up towards the center, you have the other 2 bands underneath, and that's how you want them to be so that we can attach them to the next row. So we'll still do the 2 bands and spots bands. And again, no spots under the tail. Just a suggestion. And this last spot, we'll put the other leg on. So same thing, hold it there, grab the 2 bands that are on top, and put those on the loom. Make sure you get both bands on both sides, and then flip it over, and you should still have extra bands there. So then you go ahead and flip the bottom 4 on all of the pins. I kind of wanted to make another little army of rainbow giraffe. Just so cute. Like a green one with yellow dots, yellow spots. Like that. So now we're going to do another row all the way around, and we're going to attach the other half of the legs in the front. So again, 2 bands across the front. And you'll turn, and you'll grab the last 2 bands that are left through the leg and put those on the loom. Like that. And then put more bands around. More spots. Just 2 bands. No spots. And again, put the other leg on the same way. Let's get those last 2 bands on. So they're almost sticking straight up now. Then you flip the bottom 4. All the way around. like so. I think it's adorable right now how it's like all smushed and the legs are up. Ah. So I want to tuck in the bands that are over the pins on the end because we are going to reduce now. And we're getting very close to being done, so yay! So we're going to reduce. Starting here at this pin, you grab the top two bands, see what side they're coming from. Mine are coming from the right, so I'm going to take them across the loom to the left. So we are crossing now when we reduce. Then the other two bands are going to come up. And then we've put some bands on here, so we're going to go to the next pin up. I'll grab the top two bands again, lift them up. They're coming from above, so they're going to go below. Other two will go above. Come to the next pin up. Top two coming from above, so they'll go below. Next two will go up. So we're on 3 pins on the right side now. Let me come over to the left side, grab the top 2 bands coming from below, so they're going to come over to the other side, and the other 2 are going to come down. Next one's down, they're coming from below, so they're going to go above. Other 2 will go below, and then the bands right here. Grab the top 2. They're coming from below, so they're going to go above. Other 2 will go below. And you can pull them up now. Push your bands down first, so it would probably be a good idea. Pull it up a little bit more. Unstick the body. Like that. So now you're going to want the other legs, so we're going to attach those now. So once again, we're going to start in the front here, 2 bands across. And we'll do 2 bands next, and it's long stretches. Then we'll have our first leg right here in the back. And again, do the same thing, kind of hold it there, grab the top 2 bands, and put those on the loom. And just kind of rotate it towards the center. Make sure that you have those 2 bands below. You got it on right. 2 bands across the back. Turn it again. And our other leg, same thing. Make sure you grab the top 2 to put on first. And then flip it up and over. And then 2 more bands right here. So we're on 6 pins, we have the legs on the back. So now we're going to flip, and each pin is going to have 4 reducing bands. You can see the one up here. So that'll be, here's 2, 4. So those are my reducing bands, and then you'll have 4 below. Same thing on the next one. Here's the 4 reducing bands, and they're tight, and then the 4 below. So let's pull them over like half and half. And again, reducing bands, and the 4 below. And as you get past these, you can flip the bands over the top of the pin. Other side, same thing, reducing bands, and the 4. Flip that over because I'm past. And reducing bands, and then last one. There we go. Like that. Push your bands down. And normally I like to move them closer when we have the long stretches, but I don't want to do that yet till we finish getting the legs on. So again, 2 bands in the front, 2 bands along the side, turn, put your other leg on, And then 2 bands across the back. Turn. And we'll put it on the other leg. And then 2 more bands. Like so. So then you'll flip the bottom 4 on every pin. And they're tight, especially on the sides. Like that. So make sure you're just on the 6 pins. And now we do want to move it closer before we do our last step here. So what I'm going to do is just kind of, I'm going to say this is my pin that I'm going to be moving towards. So I'll pick up these 2 bands, or 4 bands, bring them down a pin so that they're close. Bring these ones that are really far away, bring those down. So they're all 3 right next to each other. And then on the other side it'll be basically the opposite. So I'm going to move these ones up a pin and then these ones back a pin. And just be really careful when you do so. Like that. You can unstick your giraffe after you make sure you push everything down. Little butt stuck. So like that. So now what we want to do is we're going to reduce the middle pins, do another row, and then close. So I'm going to grab the top 2 bands here, and they're coming from above, so I'm going to take them below. Then I'll grab the other 2, and they're going to go above. Then I'll come to the other side, grab the top 2, and they're coming from below, so they're going to go above. Other 2 will go below. Push those down. Then we're going to do a row around. It's only 4 pins, but the legs are in the way. So 2 bands. Just 2. So like that. Then on every pin you're going to have 2 reducing bands and then 4 bands to flip. So do that all the way around. Kind of pull it up a little bit. Push all your bands down as far as they will go. And then we need to carefully remove this from the loom. So starting in the back here, I'm going to grab the 4 bands here, pull them up, grab the 4 over here, pull them up. And then as I get towards the end, I'm going to make sure that my finger is covering the bands over here before I take these off, because that way they won't slide off. So I distorted how I was holding it. There we go. So you can get all 4 of them on there. Like so. Then you'll take 2 bands and pull them through everything on your hook. Both ends on. Make your slip knot. And it kind of looks like it has a big bump there, but we just need to flatten it out. I'm going to hide my tail bands. There we go. So on the bottom, make sure that that kind of bump there goes away. Maybe you have to take your hook in there and kind of pull things out. It's just from the reducing. There's not a whole lot you can do to avoid that. Of course, I just pulled out a band instead of tucking it back in. Like that, so it kind of ends up looking a little flat on the bottom. Then we have the legs. I mean, mine right now, I could leave it standing like this, which I think is actually kind of cute this way. You can also reposition the legs if you need to by just putting your hook in through the bands that are on the giraffe and then just kind of twisting them. And by doing that, you can get it to move where you need to. Just pull them out too, pull them out this way. Like I said, I kind of like the way this one looks. So then let's see, other things that I noticed, like I said, the feet. A lot of times when we did the whole loom, did the feet on the loom, you're gonna end up with the feet looking like this, kind of at the end. If you just start pushing down on the bottom so that flattens out, you get kind of the little curve. You can also just use your hook and kind of, if it seems really tight and it's not pushing down, use your hook and just go along the leg and loosen up the bands here and then try pushing down again. So there's that. You may need to go through, because of the stretching and all of the increasing we did in the back, you may need to go through here and kind of pull up some of these bands if it has any little holes or anything like that in there. If you have any of those bands from the reducing up here that pulled out, just take your hook, go in through the neck somewhere, grab them, and just pull them back in and hide them. They're not loose or anything like that. Position your mouth how you want it. But I think it's so adorable. Then you can reposition the tail, all those good things. So, but it will stand up. If you have an issue at first, just keep playing with the legs and it will do that. I generally tend to squish the face so it's a little kind of longer this way, skinnier. And the same thing up here. You might need to go in through the face, tighten up the bands from the increasing that we did. Other than that, I don't think that you'll have any issues with it if you made it this far. You're obviously an awesome master loomer. So, I want to thank you guys very much for watching. I definitely appreciate it. I hope to see lots of these because I'm really proud of how it turned out. I think it's so adorable. Just love it. You need to stand up too. You're making me look bad. There you go. Alright, so hopefully I see lots of these. If you make some, definitely share them with me on my Instagram, which is at Crafting Fantastic, on my Facebook page, which is feelinspiffy or Crafting Fantastic. They both should find me. There are links beneath the video, of course. And if you love this video, definitely give it a thumbs up because that helps other people find my videos in the future. And I know lots of people have been asking me to do sneak peeks of other things that I've been making. Kind of come in here a little bit. That's all you get to see. So I'm still working on it. I think it'll be fabulous when it's done. I love it so. But I'm kind of on a little animal kick right now, as you might be able to tell. But hopefully you enjoy these as much as I do. I think they're so adorable. But thank you very much for watching, and I will have more for you soon.